I headed to Saitama for work this morning. During my commute, I tried to go through my daily routine of mental math and random number memorization, but my brain simply wouldn't cooperate. I couldn't do the calculations as usual, the numbers wouldn't stick in my mind and vanished from my mental imagery almost instantly. Because I had felt a real sense of growth just yesterday, having become able to visualize numbers quite vividly through recent training, this sudden slump left me feeling quite anxious. Although I've been disciplined with my practice, the fact that my skills are progressing slower than expected only added to my frustration. Rather than simply dismissing it as brain fatigue, I was curious about the specific causes and decided to ask Claude. It presented 3 primary reasons from the perspective of why only specific functions might decline. First, the depletion of neurotransmitters in specific circuits. This is a state where glutamate or dopamine is lacking in the circuits used for calculation and memorization. Since other circuits remain normal, tasks unrelated to calculation aren't affected. Attempting to force calculations in this state is inefficient, as the brain merely tries to use alternative pathways. Second, the saturation of synaptic plasticity. Memory is formed by strengthening synapses, but there is a limit to how much strengthening can occur within a specific time frame. Once that ceiling is reached, the brain cannot take in new information. Third, delayed information processing in the hippocampus. According to the synaptic homeostasis hypothesis, information stored in the hippocampus is organized and reset during sleep. However, after intense memorization, the volume of data may be so high that even sleep isn't enough to clear the hippocampus's capacity. I also asked for potential countermeasures. Sleep, this is the most powerful solution. Light aerobic exercise, this stimulates the secretion of dopamine, serotonin, and BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which aids in hippocampal recovery. Utilizing the default mode network, memories are organized when the brain is in a resting, unconscious state. You should avoid looking at your smartphone, as it hinders this process. Nutritional intake of precursors, consuming tyrosine, found in meat, fish, and soy, or tryptophan, found in eggs and dairy, which are the building blocks for dopamine and serotonin. Additionally, because glycogen within astrocytes is consumed during intense neural activity, replenishing carbohydrates is effective. However, it's apparently better to choose foods that raise blood sugar levels gradually, like whole grains, rather than sugars that break down immediately. As for my work, I arrived at the client's nearest station around 10:30 a.m. and walked to their residence. I was there to provide accompaniment, and we left a bit early to catch a bus heading back to the station. Our destination was a park in Saitama, as usual. Even though it's within the same prefecture, reaching it requires 3 train transfers, so it was past noon by the time we arrived at the park's nearest station. Our routine is to have lunch at a local Chinese restaurant and then have a snack. By the time we finish, it's almost time for the return train, so the truth is I have rarely actually stepped inside the park during these assignments. On the way home, I tried mental math again, but it was still no use. After getting back, I opened YouTube and saw that my subscribed channels were introducing new LLMs. It seems the latest Gemma model and a Japanese LLM, LLM-JP, have been released. Since I already have several local LLMs like Qwen 3.5 on my PC, I cleared out some old ones and installed Gemma 4 and LLM-JP. Considering the specs of my RTX 3060, 12GB VRAM, I chose a lightweight model for LLM-JP, and I was quite satisfied with both the response speed and the quality of the content.